Sometimes children can really get down on themselves when things don't go the way they want or they feel like they didn't perform to their level of expectations, and that can create a whole lot of struggle. And today I want to talk about something you might not have considered and that can help our children shift if we present in a growth mindset way. But when we are down on ourselves, that's actually pride. Children are great by their very nature, and we have the privilege and responsibility of raising them. It can be challenging at times. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I'm a general and special education teacher. I homeschooled my own children for 5 years. The things I talk about are the things I've studied, I've applied, and I found what really benefits myself, my children, and my students, and that I feel will really benefit you. Today, we're talking about a topic that was a struggle for me to really delve down into, because I was that person who would also get really down on myself. I'd be taught from childhood that, you have to get straight A's, you have to perform well, everything has to be just this way. And so when it wasn't that way, I would get really, really down on myself. And so when I see this in children, I kind of feel like, oh, I know a little bit of what could be going on there. And what really helped me to change and to shift my mindset was coming to an understanding that when I was down on myself, that was pride. That was me thinking, oh, I'm supposed to be better than everybody else. If I didn't do it perfectly, then I made a mistake. And mistakes are fine for other people, but for me, I can't do that. And so that really truly is a sense of pride. I'm better than others. I'm not allowed to make mistakes. And then the side effect of that was, since I'm now not allowed to make mistakes, then guess what? I'm very limited in my growth. I can't grow, because when we make mistakes, that's where growth comes from. And I know there can be a lot of religious feelings behind the word pride and its opposite, humility. And for me, I am a very religious person myself. There were senses in there that also came from programmings around my thoughts about religion and God and all those things. So when we talk about some of the things our children struggle with, and I know I'm talking as an adult now, but these were struggles that I had even very young as a child. So I'm talking about children, my childhood, and things that might be happening with our children. Religion and those kind of beliefs, whether it's in our home or in our community, they play a really big role in patterns that we pick up on that can be helpful or unhelpful. And it's not that there's something wrong with religion, because like I said, I am a very religious person, but there's understanding how religion can influence some of the patterns that I picked up, and my interpretation of things could cause struggles in my life that isn't about the religion, but how I chose to interpret things as a child before I could even think about thinking. And so when we look at being down on ourselves, oh, I did that wrong, I did that again, I can't believe that I chose that. What was I thinking? I'm so stupid. We'll go into like really negative self-talk. And that, when we get down to its essence, really is pride, that we are supposed to be better than others, that others can make mistakes, but I have to be the best and I can't make mistakes. I can't allow myself to, oh wait, that's right, learn. And so we get into that where in many scriptures it says, pride goeth before the fall, or ones like that. But there's also, we need to be humble, right? When we're humble, we're teachable. And so if I'm stuck in the place where I have that pride that I can't make mistakes, then I'm also in that place where I'm not humble. I'm not able to learn. I can't look at my mistakes and allow myself that opportunity to grow, to learn from it, and to know that that's part of a mortal existence, is being able to make these mistakes, to learn from it, and to progress in life. And having that switch in understanding that being down on myself isn't humble, um, because pride isn't just, oh, I'm the most perfect person, and I am so much better, and I have so much to give, and other people have less, right? It's, even when we're down on ourselves, that's the attitude we get down on ourselves with, that I'm not supposed to make mistakes. Because and if we're not supposed to make mistakes, where does that feeling come from? Right? Because I'm better than this, um, and it just stops that growth. And so when we look at that with our children, that's where really truly creating that growth mindset can really benefit us. If we just understand that, oh, yeah, we make mistakes and we learn from them, that we all make mistakes. And if somebody has caused me harm or hurt or made a mistake around me, that's okay. They're allowed to make mistakes. Um, and how I choose to respond to their mistakes doesn't mean I have to be walked on. It just means, I will let you own that. I don't have to take that ownership on myself. And so when we allow that in our own minds and in our own hearts for ourselves, then we're taking that ownership, we're taking that responsibility. And so we say, yes, I made a mistake. Yep, that has even caused harm. It could cause harm to maybe my grades, maybe to somebody I offended without meaning to. Wherever the mistake was, and whatever the consequences of that mistake, I get to own it. And I get to, by owning it, learn from it. And I get to hear other people's responses to me. And that takes letting go of that pride and allowing humility to allow people to have their own opinions. And that doesn't mean I take people's response to me. Like, even if I made a mistake and I said something that somebody else took as hurtful, that doesn't mean I'm responsible for their hurt, because it's how they interpret it. But I can take that information in and say, oh, is it something that is it really the way I said it or how I said it? Is there something that I can do to alleviate that in other people next time? And sometimes the answer is yes, there's something that I want to do that I could do. And sometimes there's a line of, um, it's how that other person interpreted it, and how I said it, I feel is appropriate and true to who I am. And then I can give it back to them. Like, thank you for that information. I look at that information, and then I can choose to apply it to help, or I can let it go and give it back to them in a kind way. Just let go of it in my own heart. And so that pride, being down on ourselves in a prideful way, doesn't help with growth. And so really looking at, how am I presenting that for my children? And then being able to then, because I'm in a place to let go of that pride, to be able to help my children see where they might be having pride that's stopping them from growing. And that's really that litmus test. That's really how we know, is how we're thinking about it and getting down on ourselves. Is that stopping our growth? Then we have pride. And if we're allowing that humility in, and we're able to learn and grow, then in that little spot or that time, we don't have pride. And so remember, children are great by their very natures, and we have that privilege and that responsibility to raise them. Friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.